The steam locomotive. Amazing, isn't it? In this video, we will be looking at some famous and iconic locomotives, model railways, and more. Today, we start off with LNER's most famous engine, Class A34472 Flying Scotsman. Flying Scotsman is a Pacific steam locomotive built in 1923 for the London and Northern Eastern Railway, LNER, at Doncaster Works, designed by Nigel Gresley. It was employed on long-distance express East Coast Main Line trains by the LNER and its successors. The locomotive set two world records for steam traction, becoming the first steam locomotive to be officially authenticated at reaching 100 miles per hour on 30th November 1934. Then setting a record for the longest non-stop run by a steam locomotive when it ran 422 miles, 679 kilometres on 8th August 1989 while in Australia. As well as hauling enthusiast specials in the United Kingdom, the locomotive toured extensively in the United States and Canada from 1969 to 1973, then in Australia in 1988/89. Flying Scotsman has been described as the world's most famous steam locomotive. In a 2015 poll, which questioned people from 4 continents, it was ranked the most famous locomotive. LNER locomotive numbered 4468 Mallard is a Class A4462 Pacific steam locomotive built at Doncaster, England in 1938. It is historically significant as the holder of the world speed record for steam locomotives at 124.5 miles per hour on 3rd of July 1938. This broke the German DRG Class 05002's 1936 record of 124.5 miles per hour. The A4s were designed by Sir Nigel Gresley and are famous for iconic streamlined shape and design. Gresley was almost famous for designing the A1s, like the Flying Scotsman. Steam railways weren't just popular because of these iconic locomotives. Train sets were also made to capture the railway. Scaled-down locomotives, trains, rolling stock and buildings were made so you could bring the world of railways into your front living room. The older model trains were far too big and expensive, so not everyone could afford or even have the space for them. But in 1920, a guy named Frank Hornby produced the first Clockwork train, which was in O gauge. Yet again, these were still a bit too big, so in 1938, Hornby launched its first OO gauge train. In 1964, Hornby and Meccano were bought by their competitor, Triang, and sold on when Triang went into receivership. Hornby Railways became independent in the 1980s. In the 1960s, the steam engines were going to be replaced by the less impressive and brutal diesel engines. For train and model railway enthusiasts, it was like a death in the family. The end of steam affected the enthusiasts on a truly personal level. By the 80s, railways were all about the intercity 125s and anonymous engines, and a lot of people were losing interest in railways. But in 1984, a hero arrived. A whole new generation were introduced to the world of trains thanks to the TV series Thomas the Tank Engine, based on the books by the Reverend W. Aubrey in 1945.
Gordon, the big engine, and Thomas the Tank Engine puffed buffer to buffer back home. It had been a busy day.
But it was not just Thomas and his friends that are famous TV locomotives. Engines like the Hogwarts Express and the Polo Express also brought a lot of new enthusiasts to the world of trains.
Then Thomas fell down a mine and Gordon came to his rescue. "Remember, Thomas," called Gordon grandly, "united we stand, together we fall. You help me and I'll help you." "I'll remember," replied Thomas, "but I hope the Fat Controller forgives us soon."
Thanks to these iconic locomotives, railways are even more popular than ever. And now a lot of famous and iconic steam locomotives and railways have been preserved, the age of steam is still going strong.